it can handle it.
Oh, I don't know. Mind blowing.
Right, I think we're live. I think we are good. How's your ankle? Are you walking around and stuff?
Yeah, yeah. Well, I can put weight on it now, but not mass loads. It's just, yeah, just getting there.
How old are you?
34.
Because I was thinking this the other day. Like the older I'm getting, I used to like BMX and stuff.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
just
yeah.
think I can't afford to like injure myself anymore because I just won't
But
recover.
used to bounce once, and
Yeah,
now it just breaks.
yeah. My ankles are super weak now, and I can feel like every so often I'll just get a tweak in my ankle. I think that could have been worse. I could have rolled
Oh,
it.
honestly, yeah. So I'm thinking I'm playing golf now
Instead of football.
instead of football.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Well, the surgeon said I'll never play again, so that's probably a big one.
Oh, really? Yeah, that you're actually never going to play football
Yeah,
again?
never play football again. Not even a friendly kick around, nothing.
No
That's it.
way.
Yeah,
Oh dear.
but
Right.
yeah. Go find a sport that's outdoors.
Yeah. Everyone's rolling in now. Return of ammo. Welcome. Carry on cleaning. Welcome. Chelt. Welcome. How's it going?
Oh, guys.
This is Neil. This is my accountant Neil. And
Hi. Hopefully, I'm not the stereotypical boring accountant.
no, you said to me the other day you want to show that accountants, not all accountants are boring.
Hopefully not. If I am, please let me know.
Are you are you on your phone at the minute?
Yes.
I was just wondering, are you able to? I don't suppose you'd be able to do both at once. I was just thinking if you were able to pull up the YouTube chat, then you'll be able to see people asking questions.
I'll do that then. You'd have to ask him. You have to ask this old guy. You have to teach this old guy to do it.
Well, you kind of want two different devices, really. Your phone to do
Unless you
this,
can,
and then
you can ask me.
yeah,
Easier
if that's
if
all
you've
right
got
with
it.
you, yeah.
Yeah, no, that's
So,
fine.
so I'll be
Absolutely.
trying to focus on what you're saying and then trying to read people's questions at the
Quick
same
chat as
time.
it
So,
pings through.
yeah,
Everyone going, what does that actually mean?
yeah. So you'll have to bear with me. Ace of Sprays, welcome. BM Garden Services, welcome. Bartos, I don't know how to pronounce your name, but welcome, Martin. So I've got a few questions sort of loaded up, things that I wanted to know.
Okay.
I don't know if you want to introduce yourself. I don't know whether you were going to be discussing
Yeah.
where you work and all that
Well,
sort of stuff, or
yeah, just a couple of things that come up regularly in my world. But I'm happy to ask questions, whichever way you want to approach it, really. So, so I'm Neil. I'm obviously an accountant. I specialise in small, medium, large, any sort of businesses, really. One of the common things that people ask me is, what is the difference between a limited company and a sole trader?
I've literally got that written down on the side of my computer right now.
Yeah, and this see, I'm gonna answer that one, and I'm gonna stop because I'm probably end up answering your questions that you're asking. What is the difference? Well, and why are people limited companies, and why are people sole traders? Why do people do this? Well, a limited company is owned by shareholders and run by directors. Okay, a self-employed person, a sole trader, is basically somebody who just operates by themselves. And why do people choose one or the other? Well, one of them's tax saving. So generally speaking, limited companies, if you're earning your profits, not your income, your profits are 50,000 or more, generally it's more tax efficient to be a limited company. Okay. If you and than being self-employed. So just put that into some numbers. Like limited companies, if their tax rate, if their profits are 50 grand or below, they pay 19% tax. But as they go up to say 100,000, they pay like 20%, and it goes up in tranches effectively up to 250,000.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so the time you hit 250,000, you're hitting the 25% tax. Sole traders will pay, or self-employed people, or self-employed partnerships, however you want to look at them, they pay tax at 20%. Okay, above 50,000, they pay tax at 40%, and on top of the 20% below the 50,000, they pay 9%. So in a nutshell, you pay 29% tax and national insurance
Yeah,
below 50 grand, and anything over and above the 50 grand, you end up paying tax at 42%. So tax at 40, national insurance at 2.
I'm going to ask you lots of silly questions throughout this, so I hope
Yeah, no
that's
such thing as a silly question.
that's what I've named
That's the purpose
today's
of this.
live
The purpose
stream.
of this.
I've named today's live stream me asking Neil lots of silly questions. Is there there's a difference between becoming VAT registered and becoming a limited company?
One of my next points
Because
going to be, no, they normally go hand in hand.
right,
Normally, because by the time you're going VAT registered, so just before we go off on that, be VAT registered. You have to be registered to compulsory register your sales. So your top line, what you invoice your customers, has to be 85,000 or more. Okay, that's to compulsory register. But you can voluntarily register at any point you wanted to.
mm-hmm.
Okay, normally everyone hides away from the VAT and doesn't want to register because they go, oh, on a minute, I'm now 20% more expensive to my customers.
Yeah.
Because if it was 100 quid, let's just say for yours, it was 100 quid. If you were VAT registered, it becomes 120 quid. You have to invoice. That 20 quid's not yours. That's the government's. So you're charging your customer. Then actually, I turn up around the corner and I'm not registered and I'll do exactly the same job for 100 quid. Well, who am I going with? I'm going to go with the 100 quid one, aren't I?
Yeah.
So you lose your commercial edge, but you have to register when you go over the 85,000. And I'll come back to your question. Do you have to go to limited companies or becoming a limited company and VAT registration? Are they the same thing? No, they're very different. And you can be a limited company and not be VAT registered.
Okay.
But they normally go hand in hand because you're normally making more money and more
that
sales.
Threshold
Means more profit, which means more. But it's a case by case basis. There's no one size fits all with this, and that's the beauty of my job. It's the same as you go in doing your job. You use washing facilities like a jet wash, for example, and you use a chemical, but the chemical is different every job, and the things are different in every job, and that's the same as mine. The thing that's fundamental is tax and accountancy, but actually what I do with that is different on every single job.
Yeah. And last year when we were talking about my books and about the numbers and stuff, you alluded to me inevitably potentially becoming VAT registered at some point or becoming a limited company at some point because of sort of asset management and liability and responsibility and all that sort of stuff. Protection, thank you. Is that the natural progression? Because I'm in a situation where I'm sort of contemplating if I think the expectation is that you start a business and you just expand and expand and expand.
Yeah.
I'm not sure whether I want to go in that direction. I'm not sure whether I want to keep expanding. And so if I can earn charge my customers under 85 grand a year, is it, and I don't plan on expanding and getting all these assets and employees and all that sort of stuff. Does it make sense for someone? Okay. Because
we have to look at it, your world. We have to look at it as a risk. Okay, what are the risks in your world? Okay, well, something could break, as in you could break something for a customer. Something could need some work doing to it. There could be, as in, you could break someone's a block paving brick, for example. Well, you just go and buy another one, don't you? There's no real protection thing. It's not like you're a builder and you're working on a roof and you can potentially drop something and have something that's you're not insured for. Okay, and it's also protecting you. So a limited company is a separate legal entity. Okay, so it's like me and you, but it's effectively like you own, you control me, and I go out and do the work. And what you do by virtue of that, in reality, is protect yourself from. You have like what's called limited liability. So what the assets the company's got are at stake. Your personal assets are not.
So at the moment, if something goes really wrong, and I get into the situation where they come after some money from me,
your insurance doesn't cover you.
Yeah, and it could get to the point where my personal assets could be up for grabs. Is that right?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, to fund that. Yeah. So that's the real reason. But so it's not all tax driven. Some of it's protection driven. But it's those sort of things you have to consider. There's no right or wrong. Absolutely not. It's a calculated risk, really. What's the calculated risk that your insurance company doesn't? Because obviously insurance companies will try if they can to manoeuvre around things. Of course they will. But as long as you do everything letter of the law, there's no risk, is there?
So,
Or little risk.
so when you're earning above that £85,000 threshold, it makes sense to become.
But you have to be registered.
Sorry, yeah, you have to be registered.
VAT registered. Yeah.
But also it makes sense from a liability perspective, and there's a tax saving as well at that point, isn't there?
Yes.
Okay.
Obviously it's all based on calculations. It's not always going to, it depends on people's circumstance and all that sort of stuff. But as a general rule, yes. But
Okay.
it has to, without sounding like a politician, it depends on the workings. It's a case by case basis.
Yeah. Okay. Let's have a look. Seb, welcome. Great North, welcome. Russ, Lindsay. If anyone's got any questions throughout this live stream, feel free to pop them in the chat. I can't guarantee we'll get to them immediately because there's lots of messages popping up. But I will try and touch on everything that you guys ask. If you've got any questions for Neil. Just going back to the beginning.
Yeah.
I don't know if you know, I'm an absolute tight ass. And so when I first started my business, I had it in my head that I was gonna do everything myself and I wasn't gonna bother with an accountant because I was just gonna do the research and try and figure it out. What would you say to someone who's just started out their business, in terms of whether or not, like for someone in my mindset, like I was back then?
I can tell you exactly this. I had this exact question asked to me last Tuesday. I spoke to a new client, and the new client said to me, "Neil, I've listened to the adverts on the radio, and I've been told that QuickBooks can do my tax return for me." And I was like, "Well, absolutely, the tax return can do the tax return for you. The computer can, because computers are good, but a computer will never replace a person, never replace an accountant, because that software and that computer is only as good as the information going into it."
Mm-hmm.
And I'm going to relate this back to your world a little bit. So why would I use a professional to jet wash my patio? Why would I not use my Karcher to go out and do it myself, or other brands out there? But why would I not? Well, actually, and I can answer that question myself, but it's because actually it's not done necessarily correctly. I could end up ruining the sand under my obviously like patio or block pavement, whatever. Going back to my world, why would you? Because there are costs in my world that relate to your business, and you might not have considered them. There's also what those numbers really mean. Do those numbers impact your life? As in, do they affect your ability to get a mortgage? Well, yes. Do they affect your ability to go and do other things that you want to go and do? Yes. It's about getting that balance between paying the right amount of tax, paying the amount of the tax that you have to pay or that you should pay. Those are the things.
That's what that was one of the key things I took away from our first meeting in person, is when you said, you asked me when's your mortgage due for renewal. I was like, I told you, but I was like, what's that got to do with anything? And you were talking about first year's figures don't necessarily have to be that strong, but if you're remortgaging in February 2024, we want to show the banks that you can afford to pay your mortgage. And absolutely. So year two needs to look stronger. So it's not all about saving as much tax as physically possible. It's about proving that you can, when it comes to applying for loans and all that sort of stuff.
Anything like that, car finance, going for anything like that. As a self-employed person, you have what's called an SA 302. Okay. Now, anyone that's gone for a mortgage will know that is effectively a P60 for a self-employed person. And the mortgage lenders will go off that. And not only off that, they'll go off your bank statements. And I'm going to mortgage world here a little bit, but they will want to see that the numbers on the bank statements match up to your tax return.
Mm-hmm.
So they look at both, and if they don't seem to make a proper pattern, then you're in trouble. And an accountant will build up and actually help explain that picture. A good accountant will always save you more than you pay them. That's how I would word it, and not just in tax savings, but in actual life savings.
I see what you mean. Yeah, so you don't have to worry about the cost of having to pay an accountant because you're going to save that cost in the long run anyway.
in the long run, whether that be saving, helping you get your mortgage, whether that be saving in tax, whether that be saving the strategy, saving in protection, saving all those sort of things, and actually having that thing at the end of the phone. I'm looking to employ somebody. Is that a good idea? How much will that cost me? What do I have to pay them? I'm looking to, I'm looking to change this. I'm looking to change my van. Can I claim the VAT back? Well, no, because you're not VAT registered. What tax savings do I get from buying equipment? All those sort of things that you won't get from a bit of software. You can do a bit of Googling, but Googling will give you one answer on one page, another answer on another. But if you use some of these manuals that are out there, they are, I mean, sometimes I look at them and go, if I didn't know what I was talking about, this would drive me insane.
Yeah. It's also that thing to do with cash as well. People think, if I get paid in cash, I won't have to pay any VAT. I won't have to pay any tax. But it's like, yeah, but you've also got to prove that you're earning an income. Later on,
So software. There's a bit of software out there, and people ask me all the time. Do I have to declare everything I earn? Letter of the law, yes, you should. But there's a thing out there. HMRC have now got really super software that can tell you what car you drive, what holidays you go on, what house you live in. So all you got to do is look at those numbers. And if you're living in a 6-bedroom house, you go to the Bahamas every year and you're driving a Ferrari and your tax return says 30,000. It ain't matching up, is it?
Really? They've got access to all that?
Yeah, because if you think about it, your passport's got a log. Your DVLA has got a log.
I suppose it's all linked to the government, isn't it? It's all one entity.
It's just one click of a button, and they've got access to everything. I mean, not that my life is that exciting, but you can imagine as the accountant, it's not very exciting. But my beans on toast that they see me have every night for dinner.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's cheese on toast.
Yeah.
Sometimes
it adds up.
My cheese sandwich for lunch, and me Fiat Panda.
Have you actually got a Fiat Panda?
No,
you could not fit in a Fiat Panda.
Well, good laugh, wouldn't it? But and that's it. But in reality, the point is the fact they can see.
Yeah.
So if you're doing it yourself and you're going to say you're only bare minimum, just be careful.
Luke asks, Neil, starting out as a new business, what's the best scenario for me to go down without knowing income? How much do I need to earn before I need to declare? You should, if you're making any money, you should be declaring it. Okay, there's a de minimis limit of £1,000. You earn £1,000, as in income of £1,000. So you go and bill customers of £1,000 maximum. You haven't got to declare that to anybody. As soon as you get over and above that, you start assuming you've got other income sources. So you've used up what's called your personal allowance. Okay, so every person has a £12,570 worth of personal allowance. Okay, so that's your tax-free allowance. Everyone has that. Okay, so if you've been employed before or you're employed currently and you've used that already in this tax year, and you've billed more than £1,000, you'll have to declare that because there'll be tax due on that. Okay. So what would I advise as a new startup? While you're dipping your toe in the water, start off as a sole trader every day of the week. Because it's, you form a limited company, you're stuck with it. It's a legal entity. It's a pain in the backside to get rid of it once you've formed it. So, you would literally start off as a sole trader, especially you're starting off today. You've literally got, coming to the end of the tax year, which is the 5th of April. 5th of April, 31st of March. In my world, we use it as the same date, really. But 5th of April is the end of the tax year. So you dip your toe, test it as a sole trader. It kicks off really well. Then you know what your income stream is going to be. And then you build up from there. So once you get past that £1,000 threshold of income from your side hustle,
yes,
you then want to register your business, ideally, and apply for self-assessment.
Correct. A unique tax reference number is what they will have, and most public liability companies will be asking for your unique tax reference number. So you have to apply before you can start. And
then what would the best practice be then? Is just a simple spreadsheet. I know what I've got on mine, which I checked with you when I first started, just to make sure this was the information that you needed. I've got a column for income. I've got a column for stuff I bought, like fuel and supplies and equipment and all that sort of stuff. And I'm just keeping track of everything like that. And I've got some sort of running totals and all that sort of stuff.
And that's perfect for a startup. What happens eventually is you'll then come across softwares like Xero, Sage, QuickBooks. You'll come across all these bits of software. And there's always that bit, well, when do I actually start using this software? Well, if you've VAT registered, you have to use software. But if you build up your business and you're doing, you're dealing with nice customers, and you do a job, you get paid. You do a job, you get paid. You do a job, you get paid. Then actually the spreadsheet is absolutely fine. If you're doing mine and you're giving me 30-day terms, and then you're going to do Jeff next door, that's 30-day terms, and then you're going to do somebody else and somebody else and somebody else, that's when you would start using software, because you'd very quickly lose track on who owes you money and who doesn't.
Yeah. Great.
So from a startup point of view, start off on the spreadsheet, absolutely fine where you find your feet, start off as a sole trader. Hope that answers the question.
Yeah, it does. Stephen says, if it hasn't already been covered, how much is an accountant? I think that's what he means.
Depends. Well, it depends. I mean, it depends on what you require from the accountant. Is the thing. So my world is based on time. Okay, so more time I think it's going to take, the more I'm going to charge. The same as again with your world is sort of asking how much does it cost to clean my patio? Well, it depends on how long my patio is, doesn't it?
Yep. So
and how many hours you think it's going to be.
So it's based on how much information you need to go through, essentially.
How much I need to go, how much time it's going to take me or my team to produce that, how much time you're going to need from me to actually, if we're going to sit down for an hour a week, then it's going to be more expensive. If you're not going to talk to me at all, then it's going to be cheaper. But if in reality, when we're meeting, we're doing an awful lot of structuring, an awful lot of really good solid work, then it's going to be a little bit more expensive. But it just depends on, and it also depends on how good your accountant is. You'll find ones out there who'll charge you 50 quid to do a tax return. They're great, but they're probably not going to be considering your mortgage. They're probably not going to be considering all those sort of things.
Yeah.
But, there's always a middle ground with accountants.
When people give you their books, their receipts and all that sort of stuff, have you ever come across anyone that's like super disorganized and it takes you ages to go through just because it doesn't make sense?
Yeah.
Okay.
All the time. Don't forget, you guys and a lot of people become businessmen because of what they're good at what they do, not because they wanted to be businessmen.
Yeah.
It's I speak to more people actually than not. People fall into being business owners. I was speaking to a doctor's surgeon the other day, and they've become businessmen because they're good doctors, not because they trained as doctors, and they became self-employed people owning a business because they were good doctors.
Yeah.
So they're thinking, I'm great at diagnosing the wart on the end of your finger, but when it comes to this accountancy malarkey, what on earth is tax?
Yeah.
Like, how does this even work? How do I run a business? So you stumble into it.
Mm-hmm.
So we're not expecting you to come to us with a pretty little spreadsheet going, oh, here's my income and expenses. It's just, but simpler the better. I
missed a question further up from the Lawn Ranger. He says, what's the law on receiving tips?
Receiving tips is the same as all other income. It's taxable. It's taxable income. So, and that would count towards your VAT total. It should be declared to HMRC, yeah.
I find cash really annoying at the moment because I'm declaring absolutely everything. And when someone gives me cash, it means that I've got to, one, hold on to it. And when I've got a wallet full of receipts, I don't want anything else in there ideally. And sometimes it's change in there and I just haven't got room. And then I've got to go to the Halifax uptown. I've got to put the cash in. I've got to take the cash from Halifax and move it across to my business account. And then when it goes across to the business account, it doesn't come up as anything. So I haven't got a name next to it. So I have to figure out and remember what I did on that day, when I deposited the cash, and who that cash might have been from. It's so frustrating.
Yeah. And if you do get paid cash, you can't spend it these days anyway. No one wants to take it.
Yeah, I found that a lot more recently.
You go in the bank and it's like,
where
did I go the other day? I went to Nando's the other day. Can't pay cash.
Really?
Nando's always had cash.
It's legal tender. I don't understand.
That's a politics one. That is. We're gonna have a little one podcast about the noise.
Yeah. Luke says, I've also kept receipts for everything I bought too. How do I approach that with paying tax? Can I pay myself back with outlaying on the equipment?
Yeah, so I'm assuming you're a self-employed individual. So what will happen is you'll have just imagine it as one big pot basically. You'll have your income. Okay, you take up all your expenses, including the ones you bought personally or not out of the business bank account. So that'll be, let's just say it's a piece of equipment or whatever, it just comes off. So whether it be something you pay at the bank, something you pay at your personal accounts, whatever, to me that's an expense. No matter how you pay for it, you probably pay for it crypto for all I care. That will literally, you'll have your income, you'll have your costs, and then whatever your income less your costs and the other things you got receipts for comes down to your profit, and that's what you pay tax on.
You said something earlier about I bought my van. Can I knock this off my tax? And you said no, because you're not VAT registered.
Yes, there's a difference. So
I've just bought another van, and I bought a bigger van, and I've added that onto my spreadsheet, thinking that it's $7.5 grand.
You're paying tax relief.
Okay.
So $7.5 grand using that number. That's $7.5 grand going to save you 1,500 quid in tax. Okay, that's going to come straight off your tax bill. Okay, so you make a profit of, let's just say 20 grand. We take off your the cost of your new van. Okay, so when I'm saying profit, that's trading profits. That's all your income. Take off your expenses. So take off your fuel, your products, all that sort of stuff comes off. Comes to 20 grand. Take your van off. That comes to a 12,000, nice and neatly to a £12,000 profit, no tax, because your personal allowance covers the profit. Okay, if that had been £7,500 plus VAT, okay, or £7.5 grand including VAT, okay, you wouldn't get the VAT back on it if you get what I mean. So let's just go for nice easy numbers: £10,000 plus VAT. Okay, that's going to be £10,000 plus £2 grand VAT, 12 grand in total. Okay, if you were VAT registered, you claim the £2 grand VAT back straight away. Okay, so when we're talking about your profits, you only have £10,000 to come off against it. Okay, whereas in your scenario, let's just say it wasn't 7.5. Let's say it was the 12,000. You have, because you can't claim the VAT back, you have the full £12,000 coming off your profit. Okay, so you still get tax relief, you just can't claim the VAT back. They're just different kettles of fish, basically. So I have to imagine them.
Okay. Because
you have the VAT fish and the tax fish. Anyone who's just come in to join us now is thinking, what is he on about?
Honestly, this is a totally different world for me, and I think I said to you when we first met, not when we first met, because we've been friends for years.
We're too young then.
We grew up, we just for reference, we grew up together playing football over at, the Green? Over at the Green?
At the Green, yeah. Oh, this was chaos.
Yeah, it's chaos, absolute chaos. And yeah, when I first came in to meet you, I said, like, you're going to have to talk to me like I'm dumb, because my world has always been fairly hands-on stuff, I guess. And when it comes to organisation, and particularly money, I hate talking about money because I'm rubbish at it. I'm rubbish at figures, I'm rubbish at maths, I'm rubbish at remembering things. And so when I hear language like being VAT registered and sole trader and all this other stuff, it just goes totally over my head. So I'm glad.
Well, that's why I use analogies.
Yeah, you did a lot of analogies. Yeah.
Yeah, oh yeah. I've got an analogy for everything. Everything.
Let's have a look. Where's your beard? Oh, I've gone a bit shorter on it. Evening, Neil. Should I register my van in the business name or in my own name? Says Great North Exterior Cleaning.
If you're a limited company, then it should be registered within the limited company's name, because you want to claim tax relief on it. And as I said at the start, it's a separate legal entity. It's like me and you again. But if you're a sole trader, doesn't matter. The sole trader is you. You are the sole trader. You are the business. Without you, there is no business.
So when I just bought my van, the chap I bought it off, I'm not sure why he did it, but he sent the V5 off in my business name. I didn't ask him to, he just did. Is that okay?
Doesn't matter.
Okay.
Doesn't matter. In reality, if on the V5, if it was a limited company, it would say limited. Okay, you're not a limited company. You are the business.
Yeah,
it doesn't matter particularly, because within that paperwork there'll be your name anyway.
Okay. Dan Jones says, I have a basic Excel spreadsheet. Should I move to Xero? Is that Xero?
Yeah, Xero. Yeah. Xero. It's the same. Depends on your admin. Sorry, was there another question there? Sorry.
No. Dan. Dan's a friend of mine. We used to work at Aldi together, and every time he comes in the chat, I say Dan's my friend, and he took the mick out of me last time. But he's yeah, he walks dogs, and his partner helps walk the dogs. They've got this business together. They've just taken on an employee as well. So he's fairly well established now. He's been going for a couple of years.
So at that point, you're probably considering the fact he's probably is a limited company, or if not, will imminently become a limited company. When you're talking about walking dogs, particularly, if you're not being paid on the day, you'll lose. And when you're employing staff, you'll start losing track on who owes you money, who has paid you, who hasn't paid you. I've actually got another dog walking people that I deal with, and they've got about 25, 30 walkers. So they have to be on a system because they would lose complete track on who does what when. If you get to that sort of stage, you start on the software and while things are building up still in that sort of business, because you're gonna need the software imminently.
There's a lot of softwares that are specifically designed for the exterior cleaning industry. Is there any generic ones that you'd recommend to everyone?
As in ones that are for invoicing or ones that are for accountancy?
Invoicing, keeping track of your customers, making sure everyone's paid up, all that sort of stuff.
So the invoicing ones, in fact, you can invoice. It depends on how, because you're talking about a schedule, I suppose. One, aren't you? One that schedules in to do it every 6 weeks or something like that, or every 12 months, or. I
guess you'd want something with the ability to with a calendar, so you can rebook appointments, all that sort of stuff. It takes the customer's details. My buddy Squeaky Clean Dave showed me one the other day where he's got the customer already on his app, and he pressed one button and it sent them an invoice, and it would let him know when it's paid and all that sort of stuff.
Xero can do that.
Yeah. Okay.
So the accountancy software. So there's some of the electricians that I deal with. They have bespoke software for their industry, and that will then allow them to do certs, so certifications with the invoicing and all that sort of stuff, which is far too superior for the accounting softwares. But they link. Okay, so he can use he can do his invoicing via the invoicing app and the cert app, but it sends that invoice to the accounting software. So going back to what you'd advise, well, obviously have a look at what it links to. The nice and tidiest account. I'm sounding like a salesman for Xero. I'm really not, but just a lot of people click well with it. It suits people that are sort of new to business. It's got a very nice face when you open it up. It's quite easy and user friendly, and it can link to other softwares. So my advice would be to have a look at those ones and make sure you get on with the invoicing software, but also the accounting software, because sometimes people get on really well, because a lot of them link with QuickBooks. They got on really well with the software, the invoicing software, but hate the accounting software. Right. And it becomes a bugbear and a bit of a pain. So just have a little look at which, there's free trials with these things. Have a play with the accounting software, have a play with the invoicing, see what works best for you, because every person's different. Wicked.
Thank you. By the way, if you need to drop off at any point, just let me know. I'm very aware that you've had a long day.
No.
I don't want to keep you for any longer.
You got me till 8:30 at least, so you'll be fine.
Okay. Right. I didn't realise how long your days were, because you've got to travel over there every day, haven't you?
Yeah.
When the traffic's bad, I bet that's not a nice journey either.
It's just one of them. It's the nature of the beast, isn't it? It's good job I love my job.
Yeah. Which ankle did you break? Can you actually drive?
Yeah, I broke my left one. Yeah. So when I snapped it, I literally sat there and I went, yes, it's my left ankle, but I can still drive my automatic car. Like small wins.
I remember I broke my ankle at a skate park over in Corby. Actually, I dislocated it. I didn't break it, but I had to drive home from Corby, which is like over an hour away.
In a manual?
In a manual with 3 other lads in the car, because I was like, I've got to get these guys back before I can go to hospital. So painful.
And they're not sure to drive. Typical.
No, because we were only like 18 at the time, and I think I was one of the only ones that drove, and it swelled up so much I couldn't take my shoe off.
Oh
yeah.
Nah.
Yeah. Simon says, what are some of the things sole traders sometimes don't realise what expenses they can get rebates on? For example, partial electricity bill, or if you work from home, So this is one of my questions. I was going to say, can we talk about some lesser known tax deductibles like washing uniform, lunch, mobile phone bill, broadband, all that sort of stuff?
You've hit a few grey areas there. So lunch is a difficult one. So lunch is classified as of subsistence. Okay, there's very strict HMRC rules on that. If you're basically you're close to your house and you're working around the corner, they're not going to pay you. Okay, whereas if you're working, sort of more than like 5 miles away from your house, you're going to be able to claim lunch or subsistence. Okay, subsistence covers dinner, it covers food, it covers lunch, dinner, whatever. Okay, whereas other things like there's the strict rules on what you can claim tax back on or tax relief on for working from home, or you're doing your books at home and all that sort of stuff. In a job where you're only working from home a small portion of the time, your books an hour a night, it's a very small percentage. There's fixed amounts you can claim back. So, let's just say, for example, £7 a week, which is actually quite generous considering that it costs you nothing. So there's strict HMRC rules on that, but it's about breaking it down. What things do people miss quite regularly? People miss office desks and chairs all the time. In fact, I've had 3 cases today that are brand new businesses, and I'm sat there and I'm like, "You've got a laptop?" And they're like, "Yeah." Like, well, what do you do your books on? I'm on a desk. They look at me like I'm completely stupid. I'm like, well, where's it in your accounts? So desk, chair, laptops,
The
iPads.
original purchase of a desk and a chair.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, because you're using it for your business. It's within your business, isn't it? You'd have bought it with the intention of using it within your business.
Yeah.
You just have to be the same day you start a business, the day after you start a business, whatever. It's, illogically, does that business need a desk? Well, yes.
And what
Apple
about?
Watches,
Sorry,
sorry.
There's a slight delay, and I'm very conscious that I'm interrupting you. What
Sorry.
about things that are like reoccurring? I've got a personal phone.
Yeah.
Probably 50% of the time, I'm using this for business stuff.
We claim a tax back on that.
On
In fact, we do claim tax back on that.
on how much? What sort of proportion of the phone bill?
Just a percentage, so percentage, so something like that. Obviously, you just told me on live stream it's 50%, but in reality, you'd be looking at around about sort of like 85%, 80% of it being a business asset, because even if stuff you don't consider. So here's another thing: mileage. Mileage is a massive thing. If you've got a van and you go in your car quoted, or you go around the evening, you don't want to take your van. You take your missus's car or your fella's car, whichever way around it be. And you go, well, actually, I'm just going to pop around the corner. Oh, it's only 5 miles. It's more comfortable in there. I just want to turn up. Just want to have an easy one. Well, you can claim back that mileage. You can claim tax relief on that mileage. So people don't consider that because they're not in their van. Well, actually, no, you can't. In a van, you have your fuel, you have your repairs, you have all that sort of stuff. But when you jump in the missus' car, well, that's not, or whichever, then you don't. You can claim tax relief on that, and that gets missed quite regularly.
And similarly, things like broadband, electricity bill, and stuff. You've got to work out a viable percentage.
Yeah.
And
is it wholly exclusive for business? That's the question. Is no, you're not going to be able to claim it. Is it a small percentage? Then actually will be covered with your working from home allowance. If you're a full-time streamer, you're having all your broadband. If you're out there doing what you do, it's going to be a small percentage. So my advice would be, in fact, you don't, because we can claim tax relief. In the reality, you can claim tax relief on whatever you want. It's not necessarily my opinion that matters. I'll tell you it's unlikely, but it's HMRC. If they question it, then effectively you could pay no tax forever, and that'd be great until the one day HMRC go, well, let's have a little look.
Yeah.
And then you've claimed tax relief on these things you shouldn't have done. They're just gonna say, well, let's have the tax back.
And is that
So
for like the last? Is that up to like the last 7 years that they can go back through?
It depends if they believe. So they've got certain criteria. If they believe it's deliberate, then they can go back further. If they believe it's careless, probably 7 years. If they believe, if it's just you've just been, you've just put your headphones in, you shouldn't have done. It's a careless mistake.
So keep your receipts for 7 years.
Keep receipts for 7 years. You have to keep them for 7 years. Yes. But don't have boxes of them. You can take. It doesn't have to be in paper form. You can take photos of them and put them on a Dropbox or something like that. It doesn't necessarily need to be paper form.
Right. Who determines that percentage? Is that based on what I think is reasonable, and then you double check it, and then it's a guess?
Yeah. What we think, what for a phone point of view.
Yeah, or broadband, or
Yeah. What we can justify. Yeah. So if we can justify it, absolutely. If you can't justify it, then no, absolutely not.
Okay. You just touched on mileage. Can you explain the difference between keeping your fuel receipts and accounting for mileage?
So if you've got a van,
do you do one or the other, or could you do both?
You can do well. If you bought a van and you've claimed tax relief on the initial purchase of the van, you're doing fuel, okay, fuel and repairs. If you bought a car, okay, and you're just using a car, because a car you can't claim you can claim a small percentage back on a car. You don't get great tax relief on cars. You do on vans. So if you haven't claimed tax relief on the car, then you'll be claiming mileage back.
So if you're using, if I'm using my girlfriend's vehicle, I wouldn't necessarily put fuel in, keep the receipt. I might just account for how many miles I've done in that car.
Yeah.
And what would it normally work out as? Like 45p a mile or something?
45p a mile. Yeah, 45p a mile for that, for the first 10,000. I assume you're not doing more than 10,000 in her car.
No.
She's not something to say about it. But you're talking maybe 1,000, maybe 2,000 miles in a year, absolute maximum. It's very, very small. You're talking 900 quid at absolute maximum in payback, which is 180 quid in tax. You're not talking massive numbers.
Okay.
So in reality, it's, if the revenue question, they want to see a mileage log, but for 180 quid, they're not going to be jumping up and down on you.
Yeah. This is an interesting question from Leon. He says, "Hi Neil, are your services claimable as you're working for Jake's business?"
Yes, absolutely. Anything I charge Jake, he'll save tax relief on. Yes.
Nice, simple one.
So question that is actually.
Yeah.
Good question.
Guide says, or Jide, I don't know how to pronounce that. So after you're over the 1k threshold, is it recommended to get VAT registered, declare income and tax returns?
Your tax returns, definitely. Okay. Is tax due? Yes. Would I get VAT registered? No, it's a bit soon. You wouldn't get VAT registered. Sorry.
No, go on.
I wouldn't get VAT registered straight away because you're going to create a rod for your own back. Because it's, like I said, with limited companies, you have to try and get rid of it then. It's a bit of a pain.
Yeah. But you do need to register your business and apply for self-assessment after that 1,000.
Get yourself a UTR. Absolutely. Yes.
Question for you, Jake. Do you have a card reader for jobs? No. No, I haven't felt the need just yet. People are quite happy for me to send my bank details.
I see that quite a lot, actually, card readers, and that comes up quite a lot. A big question in my world. Do I need a card reader? When do I get one? And actually, what would I do as a customer? I'd rather be paying you straight on your, I don't know, Summit card reader. It's just easier, isn't it? What do people have? Everyone has, and I used to, going back, I used to have this at football. I used to have years and years and years of people not paying subs, and I got really frustrated. I'll bank transfer it. Yeah, of course you will. You're not going to. I know you're not going to. So actually, everyone has their phones, and they can just double click their phone and they can pay you straight away.
Yeah.
Card readers, they have a fee. Yeah, I can't know you lose a small percentage, but getting paid quickly there and then is something that saves the hassle going over to the bank.
Yeah, that's the bit that's always stopped me from getting one, is because I'm super tight and I don't want to see that 1% removed from my.
Add it to your bill.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Honestly, if you're going to pay card, mate, here's an extra charge. It's 1%. And everyone will go, yeah, fine, I'll pay it, mate.
Oh, that's a good idea. Charge it back to the customer.
That's what I've always done. I've always done that, yeah.
Ooh, I never even considered that. I mean,
the chat's going to go mental now. Everyone's going to be like, ding, ding, ding,
yeah.
ding, ding.
It's negligible because, 200 quid, it's, what's that, two quid on top of the bill? If it's 1%. Yeah.
Yeah, it's an extra 2 quid, mate, to pay me a card.
It's not even worth doing, but...
or you read the market, you read what they're like, and if you come in around my house and you're going to get up, this guy's an absolute nightmare. He ain't going to pay me cash. He's not going to pay me. He's not going to pay me bank transfer either. Mate, it's 205 quid. Oh, fine.
Yeah. Yeah, I should just do that, shouldn't I?
You pass it on. There wasn't a quibble over £2, are they? Just to go, did.
Yeah.
That was a sound effect of paying with a card machine.
Dude. Your cleaner Windows says Cleaner Planner does it all. We have a free trial of Zero with Monzo Business.
Yeah.
I've got another question from Aria saying, hi, I started my business in May 2023. Do I need to put my tax return? When do I need to put my tax return in by?
So you're in the current tax year, which ends the 5th of April 2024. Okay. That will be due for submission with HMRC at the absolute latest, down into the last minute. But if you did, it's going to be filed by the 31st of January 2025. Okay.
So you've got 9 months after the end of the year.
Correct. After the end of the tax year. Yeah.
Yeah, tax year.
The tax year will run up to the 5th of April 2024. And you've got until the 31st of January 2025 to make that submission. I wouldn't leave it till last minute. You generally see people come in for those sort of ones and about, especially first year, come in around about May time, wanting to see you to be able to book an appointment and to be able to have a chat about whether how much tax you want to pay. Because what you don't want to do is get to the 25th of January and suddenly be given a tax bill. Saving it up is an absolute killer.
Yeah, so my plan is to come and see you just after April.
Perfect.
Go through the whole of 2023, and that means then I've got 9. If there is a discrepancy and I haven't quite saved enough, it means I've got 9 months then to save up that money and figure it out.
Absolutely, and most people, and I think I've said the same to you before, is anything, in reality, and a good bit of advice I've always given people is whenever you bill somebody, you put 20% into a savings account. Always, you'll put 20% into a savings account, and you'll always have enough for the tax.
Okay. We discussed also national insurance. Yeah. I think at the beginning I was putting 29% in to a savings account.
Yeah.
Do you think it's worth doing that at the early stages of a business?
It depends on whether you think depends whether you think it's a high or low cost business. Okay. So if you've got quite a lot of expenses, then 20% will be fine, because effectively you'll pay tax on whatever your income is, less your expenses comes down to what you pay tax on. If you're basically a more labour intensive business, so you have a small amount of materials, high labour, then you'd be talking more like 29%. Yeah. But it's a case by case basis, and something that you'd talk to the accountant on and actually say, look, how much roughly should I be saving? Because I think my costs for my chemicals are going to be about £1,000 and my income's going to be 30. At that point, it's 29% you're saving.
Yeah, perfect. That answers that nice and clearly. I'm just going through the comments versus the questions. My card reader's constantly playing up.
Well, there goes the advert for card readers.
Yeah. What would be the so this is a question from my perspective. I'm not sure whether I'm going to do it yet, but I've considered employing someone in 2024, and I'm just not sure whether it's best to have them as self-employed and they just invoice me every week, or whether it's better at my stage as a business. I've been in business 2.5 years now. Is it better for me to take them on as an employee, or just get them to send me an invoice?
Well, you've got certain bits of legislation called IR35, okay, and that came out a couple of years ago. And basically, what that looks at is whether people are genuinely self-employed or not. Okay, if they're effectively on a job by job basis, then in reality they can be self-employed. But there's a thing called badges of trade you've got to consider. Okay, and what that is do they wear a uniform? Do they bring their own tools? Do they have their own vehicle? Can they send a substitute? Basically, are they earning the same amount of money every week, guaranteed, just endlessly? Do they get sick pay? Do they get holiday pay? Okay, if the answer to all those questions is yes, as in that they wear a uniform, they get holiday pay, they get sick pay, they get the same amount every week, they're employees. Okay, so don't get your fingers burned. Always make sure that before you take on anybody as a self-employed person, you do what's called the badges of trade test. Okay, and that will come up. It's HMRC, just a questionnaire, comes out at the end whether they think you're a genuine self-employed person or not. Okay,
Yeah.
and that is what in reality what they'll base it on. Just going back to whether you'd employ or not. Okay, it depends on the nature of your business. Okay, and also people don't want to have self-employed people because they've always got the fear that those people would take their clients and take their business.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, well in reality, whether the person's employed or self-employed, that can happen. Okay, it's just the nature of being in business, unfortunately. Okay, so having an employee, so people get frustrated having employees because they have to pay extra. So on top of a salary, so let's just say you take somebody on 10,000, okay, which you probably won't get somebody great for 10,000, but you know, so 10,000 on top of that, you have to pay a pension. Okay, you have to contribute towards a pension contributions, and you have to pay what's called employers' national insurance. Okay, which in reality is adding an extra sort of like 17-18% onto whatever salary you're paying them. Okay. Plus you have to pay them sick pay and you have to pay them holiday pay. Okay.
And
so
also at that point, don't you need employers insurance as well?
Yeah. I mean, some people when they take out their public liability insurance, they'll just take it out for subcontractors and employees anyway. It's generally one of the same policy. Generally, in this day and age, the insurance companies will just classify employees and self-employed individuals on top of your insurance policy as a thing anyway.
So when you're considering taking someone on, it's not whether you can afford just their wage, it's whether you can afford their wage plus what, 20%?
Plus 20%, plus sick pay, plus holiday pay. And paying someone to have, sort of 28 days off is I mean, 8 bank holidays, let's just say, so 20 days you've got to pay them for.
Yeah.
It hurts.
Yeah, I can imagine it does.
Really, and a lot of people, and as long as my advice was always do that badges of trade test because it's cheaper to pay people self-employed, but you just got to make sure you're covered by the legislation.
Yeah. Is it a complicated process taking an employee on?
No, not at all. Not at all. I mean, the payroll side of things is relatively, straightforward for an accountant to look after anything for you. Other things to consider: employment contracts. That is the most missed thing I see, and I don't understand because most of us have been. I mean, I assume some people have always been self-employed, so they've never thought about it. But the amount of people I come across, and I sit there and say, "Well, let's have a look at your employment contract." Oh no, we didn't have one. He's just my mate. Well, just my mate is great until it goes wrong, and he's not just my mate anymore. He's just my enemy.
Yeah, I wouldn't have even thought about that.
Yeah. But these are the things that you pick up the phone, you have a chat with your accountant about, you pick up the phone to me and you say, look, I want to, it's all about having an accountant, actually going back to actually how much, why have an accountant? It's that relationship. Actually, I've never done this before. I don't, and you've got to feel comfortable asking that person what, in your opinion, is a silly question. But you think their opinion is a silly question. To you, it's massively important. Whether, actually I'll sit there and say, well, you got to think about employment contracts. You go, how on earth do I do one of those? Well, actually, here's a template. Actually,
yeah. Well, with you, it's been an absolute breeze because I'll be stewing on something for weeks, thinking, how do I even approach that? Where do I begin with that? Is that a stupid question? And then in the end, I remember you said, just text me anytime. Just drop me a text, and if I can get back to you, I'll get back to you there and then. If not, it'll be the next day or whatever. And so I just thought, I'll drop him a text. And you literally put my mind at ease so quickly when you reply. It's like, oh, it was that simple. Okay.
And actually, and that's an accountant's job. An accountant's job. Well, in our world changed a little bit. There's accountants that process numbers. They'll send you a tax return and they'll send you a bill, and that's it. And you'll pay, I don't know, 150 quid for that accountant. That's great. And then the accountants will sit there and they'll do the same things, but they'll sit there and talk to you about the numbers. 2 will be at the end of the phone to answer questions, albeit not straight away, but that's there to answer questions and actually there to help and guide and support you. And that's the way our world has changed. It's not just about processing tax returns and sending you a tax bill. It's about interpreting those numbers.
I've got a feeling, and there's already a question here from my friend Dan. He's asked if he can have your email.
Absolutely.
I've got a feeling. I mean, there's been up to 60 or 70 people watching this tonight, dipping in and out every so often.
I'm put to sleep.
No, this has been really good.
Everyone's still awake.
Is there? Do you want me to pass on details to people, or do you want to
Yeah.
put some details up where people can get a hold of you? Is there anything you want to do?
For people to approach you, ask for my details, and then just pass them on. That's absolutely fine.
Okay, what would you prefer, like phone number or
Just send them my email address.
email address?
Email address is the better one.
Okay,
Yeah. And then every day, that's a weird thing that the way I do it is every day my email inbox is my to do list every single day.
right.
So it means that that I'm definitely going to be going back to them and actually just ask any questions. It's how I'm talking here is how I talk all the time.
I can
So it's
confirm.
just
Yeah.
nothing's a hassle, nothing's a problem, and actually something that you think is a massive burden and think, oh my god, that's outrageous. It's not going to be the worst thing that I've seen.
Okay.
Trust me.
So yeah, if anyone wants to contact Neil, not tonight, but sometime in the next week or two, just send me either send me a WhatsApp. My number is everywhere, or send me an Instagram message or Facebook Messenger or whatever. It's a shame you can't send messages on YouTube, actually.
Can you not?
No.
That's showing my age, that is. I didn't know that.
We've got a bunch more questions coming through. How long
Yeah.
have we got you for, Neil? I don't want
Just we'll give it another 15-20 minutes.
to. Okay.
Fine.
It may have been covered, but if I do buy a van on finance, do I claim against the yearly cost, or would it be the same as
Ooh.
buying it outright? I asked you this the other day, didn't I?
A very good question. So I'm going to go through all the options just while we're here, and I will answer the question. So there's three options to buy a vehicle. There's PCP, there's hire purchase, and there's lease. Okay, PCP is the old. You buy it, you have a massive balloon payment, and you pay the balloon payment at the end if you want to, or you just keep changing the vehicle. HP, hire purchase, that's where you buy it for an agreed figure, and you basically pay it all off on instalments. And once you pay the last instalment, you own the vehicle. Okay, lease, you pay the same amount every month for a 2-year term. Comes to the end, you don't own it, you give the keys back. PCP and PCP and lease are very similar that way. From a tax world point of view, okay, PCP or HP are one of the same thing for a tax point of view and a VAT point of view. On the day of purchase, you pay the VAT back, and you buy a van on PCP or HP for 20 grand. Year one, you'll save 20,000 pounds off your profits. So you'll save 4 grand in personal tax, corporation tax, whichever way you want to look at it. Okay. If you were to lease it, you just basically have the tax relief over the term you've got it. So every year, let's just say you take it out on the 6th of April conveniently, and you have it up until for that tax year, and it's £1,000 a month, you'll save £12,000 off your profit. So that's going to save you £2,400 off your tax liability. Obviously, if you're self-employed, you'll have the additional 9% you'll save as well. Okay, so your national insurance saving will come in. But I've just gone simple tax terms for tonight.
So for people who, the most likely situation I can think up is someone's just got into the pressure washing industry. They're looking to start up this year. They're not sure whether to grind out with a cheap machine or whether to get a more expensive pressure washer on finance. Say they spend 3 grand on finance with a supplier. They get this fancy new pressure washer. So that 3 grand, well, 20% of that comes off your first.
Off the tax. So 3 grand will come off your actual profits, if you like.
Yeah.
And the tax saving, let's just say it was on a 3 grand piece of equipment. If you're a self-employed person, because you save the tax at 20% and the national insurance at 9%, you'd be saving the best part of £1,000, really.
Yeah. So
it would be 29% of that.
Regardless of whether you've got it for a year, 3 years, 5 years, it's still the same figure off the first year.
Still the same figure.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's only it's a 1 year hit thing.
Yeah.
Yes. At least it's a long-term hit thing. Yeah.
Is getting your business washed tax deductible? I don't know what that means. Do you?
I assume it's like business clothing. I assume that must be, or business vehicles washed. If you're having your van cleaned, then yes, it's tax deductible because it's part of the trade. Why would you have a clean van? Clean tradesman for clean van. Reputation. If it's clothing, you have a percentage they'll allow you to have. Generally about 80 quid a year they'll let you have, which will be enough to cover the washing powder on the thought and the electric for washing the machine.
If you're washing your vehicle, would you need like a receipt for that, or is it just a generic amount?
If you were to, yes, you would have the actual cost. But if anything, it's like the people that wash my car, trying to get receipt out of them is very difficult.
Yeah, I can imagine. Yeah.
So in reality, we'd be putting it through, but obviously the revenue could question that. If they question it, then we can justify it. But it's one of those. Ideally, if you can, always get a receipt on everything. Always.
This is another one of my questions that I asked last year, I think. When I was looking at buying my new machine, I think it was about £3,800, and I said, would you recommend, like, I've got this in my savings, would you recommend that I buy it from my savings, or do you think I should spread out the costs?
Yeah, and my advice on that, it's a personal preference. It's really the personal preference, but I always go on the basis, if I can use somebody else's money to do it, then that's exactly what I'll do. I'll use somebody else's money because an opportunity comes up to buy something that you need, and you need liquid cash there and then. It's more difficult to then go and try and borrow it at that point than try and and actually use your own liquid cash.
I suppose that
liquid cash is always key.
I suppose that depends on your interest rates and stuff on whatever loan you plan on getting.
It's relative.
Yeah,
it's all relative at that moment in time. But that's one of them where you have that conversation at the time, and it's at the time this seems a good idea. If you get in 1% in your savings and it's 7% to borrow it, you're probably going to end up using your own cash because it's cheaper.
Yeah.
But if you need that cash next week to go and buy a van, then you're better off borrowing it. And then it just becomes that's where the conversations come in, and that's a relationship with your accountant is really important to have those conversations.
We were having this discussion in the Discord the other day. If you've got 20 grand cash and you need a new van, one person was saying, I'd much rather just buy the van outright for 20 grand rather than why would it make sense to get the van on finance or whatever. Good. But then it's like a rainy day, something else breaks, you're back to square one, you're broke again, you've got no cash. So
you are. And also another point that I say this to a lot of people starting businesses, when you're quoting, if you paid for that cash, you don't consider it as a cost. You won't quote for that to be included in your quotes.
Say that again.
So let's just say you're paying £500 a month for a van. Let's just say, okay. So I'm paying £500 a month for a van, okay, and you've bought yours cash. Let's just say, okay. Forget tax them all for the time being. When I go and quote a job, when I'm counting my overheads and how much I have to do to break even in that day, I've got to invoice my percentage of that van, which might be 50 quid. Then I've got to then do all my bills. How much does it cost me to live? My payment is included within that, isn't it? So I've had to price to pay for that van. You haven't, because in your mind, to break even, you're 50 quid less than me, aren't you? So you're then thinking, to break even, I've only got a bill 500 quid, and mine's 550. So then when your van suddenly breaks and you need to go and buy a new van, all of a sudden you got this shock going, well, actually, I've never priced including my van before, so now my overheads have gone up, but my break even's now gone up. So that's why it's a good idea to actually borrow, because you make the business work to pay for the vehicle.
Yeah, that's another thing I hadn't considered. So surely everyone should be taking into account when you're pricing jobs the cost of the assets, regardless of whether you bought them for cash outright.
Absolutely, because when you've got to then buy them again, you've got to make sure you've got the money for it.
Yeah, I hadn't considered that.
When people price, and don't forget, this sounds like common sense when I'm talking about it. I've been doing this for 17 years. I've learned this over time. I didn't know this at day one. I only know this because of talking to new businesses and then talking about do you lease a vehicle or buy it cash? Well, actually, do you ever consider the price of it? Well, no. Well, you don't, do you?
Yeah.
Because, and I said this, probably, right at the start, you're not, you're learning this as you're doing it. You've gone into be self-employed because you enjoy what you do. Running the business is a luxury sometimes.
Yeah, sometimes.
Yeah.
I think we've got time for a few more.
Yeah.
I hope I'll be able to rewatch this. Yes, you can catch up. This will be saved on the YouTube live tab on my channel. You'd be mad to take on an employee, self-employed all day long.
As long as there's budget trade work.
Yeah. I have a question. Which is the best way to buy equipment? I think we've literally just gone through that. I have savings to buy a van. Yeah, I think what we've just discussed has answered that one. I thought I heard that it's possible to extend the length of the first year's trading, say 14 months, if I started in February.
No, so that's different rules for limited companies and self-employed people. Okay, if it's a limited company, you can move the accounting period to a maximum of 18 months. If you're a self-employed individual, so you'd have to do, because it's different tax years, and you can imagine sometimes the tax rates change between tax years. That's why they don't allow it. So it's very strict. If you've started in February, you go to the 5th of April of that year, and then you start again.
On that subject, sorry,
yeah.
go on.
And I was just say you can do so accounting period and tax periods are different things. So you can do a period of accounts, but you can't do a tax return because the tax rules dictate it has to be declared in the tax year it exists.
I think I asked you when I first started my side hustle. I wasn't necessarily banking on it becoming a thing, a business. And so that first period where I hadn't really earned up to $1,000, I wasn't really thinking about all the assets that I'd bought.
Correct.
And then, so if I forgot about that on year one, but then year two, I thought, well, actually, I invested quite a lot of money that first year. Can you roll it back and include that in this year's tax return?
Yeah, so we would dictate that you hadn't started trading if your income was less than £1,000 or less. Okay, because in reality, it's not declared anywhere. It's not really a business. It's, as you say, a bit of a hobby, really. So what we'd have is those be called pre-trade expenses. So there'll be things that you've built up over a period of time, which with the intention to use within the business that you've created, you just bought them before. So you'd be able to offset them in the first year's worth of books, yes.
Do you know how far back you can go with those? What did you call it again?
Pre-trade.
Pre-trade.
So pre-trade expenses. I mean, you could probably, you can go back a couple of years, really. It's justifiability, really.
Yeah.
It's would you have bought a pressure washer 2 years before you started trading? In reality, probably not. A year, probably, actually. I'm not saying it's not going to be done, but it's if you get asked again, it's asking the questions, can we justify it? So again, that's a bit of a case by case basis.
It's crazy how much is like open to you just being reasonable with what you're submitting. I thought there'd be very strict rules on everything. There is
strict rules, but it's justifiability. Can you justify why that's been included in those books?
Yeah.
But yes, because it's a pressure washer business and he's never bought a pressure washer and he's got that sat there and he's got the receipt. And actually what happened was he was going to start it and then he got ill. And actually, so he's come back to it 2 years later. Makes perfect sense, actually. So it's about, and that's what accountants' jobs are. Our jobs isn't to make sure you pay no tax or not whatever. It's to make sure that everything's done legitimately, in a proper way.
Yeah.
In a justifiable way. That actually, if there was any questions asked, we could actually then justify why that's been done.
Gary says, "Hey Jake, these live streams are a different level, bro. Well done. Thank you.
Oh, good work.
Honestly, you're
you already said on the accountancy one.
This is very, very valuable information, and my little circle of people that are in my Discord, we're always chatting about this sort of stuff, and so it's good to be able to get a professional who can articulate it.
It won't be the last time we'll do it again. We'll do this again in
I'd love
a
to.
couple of months.
Yeah, I'd love to.
Just because actually more questions, and we've got a budget coming up in a couple of weeks. And that's going to change. If it's going to change a lot, I think.
Yeah.
So that's going to change. Tax rates change. What does that actually mean when it comes out of the budget? Who actually knows?
Yeah.
Sometimes, when we look at it, we think it's all in the details. So we have to go away and read the details. So that will come up. Yeah, so we do it after the budget. We'll do another one sort of like middle of April or something.
That'd be awesome. Yeah. There are still questions coming in, but I'm going to let you go. I'm very conscious of your time.
It's all right. You still got me for a bit. It's fine.
You sure?
Yeah.
Okay. I know you're a very busy man, and
get out as much as possible.
Really. You've had a long day.
These important questions.
Yeah. People are finding it very useful, so thank you for being here. By the way, what is the standard depreciation rate for equipment and vehicles? What would that cover? For example, hand tools, pressure washer, or my van and computer equipment?
So for tools and equipment, you generally say 25% on a reducing balance, 25% a year, but on a reducing balance basis. And computer equipment, you generally say that lasts for about 3 years, so that'll be 33%. Is depreciation allowable for tax? No, not. So if you see depreciation in your accounts, it's just been added back for tax. It's just an accounting adjustment.
I don't understand anything you just said, but I think Simon probably
Some
did.
people, yeah. Hopefully that's, but in reality, that's the amount we depreciate it in the accounting world. In the tax world, it makes a difference. You had to claim tax relief when you bought it.
Okay. If I started my business in April 2023 and registered as a sole trader in October, do I submit my tax return starting from April or October?
So if you started your self-employment, then when you filled out your application, so you have to register as self-employed, but basically by the October following the October in the tax year, basically. Okay, so if you were doing that and you started your self-employment, you'd have put a date at the registration of when you started. So you would have said you started early April, 6th of April, let's just say. Even though you submitted the paperwork in October, you still would have put the date that you commenced. And irrelevant of that, you're in this current tax year. So you do it up until the 5th of April, 2024.
Wicked. Sorry if it's been covered, but is it worth applying for VAT registration in industries such as ours? More expensive to the customer, but does your business actually save anything versus higher quotes?
It would save on anything you purchase. So any a lot of your chemicals and those sort of things would have VAT on. Your jet washers, your equipment, your vans, they'll have VAT on them. But it's that commercial edge that you're potentially going to lose. So is it worth claiming back 500 quid on the pressure washer in comparison to losing potentially £7,000 worth of customers? Are you going to save? Yes, letter of the law. But actually, what's your commercial edge loss?
Yeah.
If a lot of people that when they're dealing with, if you're dealing with commercial people, and a lot of commercials, it's worth considering because actually they'll just claim the VAT back. It makes a difference.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas you're dealing with me on my patio and my driveway, you're 20% more expensive, and you'll lose your commercial edge.
You know, a lot of my brother worked for Allilees, and he said we wouldn't even consider anyone that's a sole trader. We wouldn't employ a subcontractor as a sole trader.
It's because it's their industry.
Yeah,
and they won't be able to actually because they're heavy HGV, so they won't be able to. They'd have to be limited companies.
All right. So if you're going for big work, you need to.
Then you consider it. Yeah, I mean, a lot of people that I deal with, a lot of recruitment, for example, they won't touch a limited company that's not VAT registered, and it's not a limited company. Too small.
Yeah.
Because there's a bit of snob value behind. As weird as it sounds, a bit of snob value behind the scenes with it. If you're VAT registered, a limited company, people suddenly think you're massive. And you're just one bloke with a pressure washer, like you just.
Yeah.
But people suddenly think that perception is different. Whereas for it depends on your target audience as well. If you're targeting big corporates and you're doing the jet washing on building sites outside where the road needs cleaning, then obviously that's a bit different. But if you're just targeting, as I say, you're basically your residential homeowners, then you're going to lose it. I wouldn't touch it.
Yeah, and I think there is a tendency for people to follow the natural progression of a business growing, but I think it's also important to figure out actually what you want from the business and whether you want that work-life balance, whether you want to expand, whether you want employees, all that sort of stuff. Hi, can I have his contact? If you send me a DM on Facebook, WhatsApp, Instagram, I'll pass over the email address. Tracy, we've already been through some of those questions. So if you want to rewatch the stream afterwards, it'll be saved on my YouTube channel.
And just have to be questions you ask now. If you want to ask a question, if you think of a question afterwards, you go, "Oh, I wish I'd asked." Then just get my email address and email me.
Yeah,
not a problem.
If the job is completed before the 5th of April, however, the pay doesn't come in until after. Do you have to include it in this tax year or next? So if you do the job,
In reality,
if
if
you
you've
do
done,
the
if
job
you've done the job,
in
then
2023,
it has to be included.
but it gets
They
paid
have
in
to be included.
2024.
You'd be on an invoice basis. Yeah.
Okay. I think we're good there. I think I'm so grateful that you've taken the time to do this with me. So thank you so much.
I would say, if you ever want me on, just ask. I'm more than happy to come on and answer any questions that people have got. We'll go over any changes and all that sort of stuff.
I think everyone's found this really useful. I've found it really useful. Cleared up a few things for me, so that's awesome.
No, well, you get the luxury. You can ask whenever you like.
I do. I've got you at the end of the phone. Yeah. It's nice. Also, I don't like speaking to people on the phone very often, and so it's nice just to be able to drop you a text like that. It's a slightly like informal relationship, isn't it? But
I used to find it very, very difficult when I first started doing my podcasts and all that sort of stuff. I used to find it really difficult, and sitting there in front of the camera and talking, I used to find really, really hard. And now, once you do a couple, it becomes really easy, isn't it?
It does when you've got someone to bounce off of. Trying to sit here and do it on my own. It's great when the chats flow in and there's lots of questions coming in and stuff. But when the chat's a bit quiet, I used to live stream video games and there was 2 people watching, or sometimes no people watching. But you have to keep talking to make it interesting, to make more people watch.
And that's it, isn't it? I find it fascinating. I really enjoy it and have a right laugh doing it. And actually, people come up and ask questions. That's so much easier when you got to try and think of things to talk about.
Yeah.
No one's gonna find this interesting.
Yeah.
I'm just here, just talking about what I do in a day.
Yeah. Everyone's saying, thanks, Neil. Amazing. Great guy. Brilliant help. Amazing insights. Appreciate the stream. Lots of great feedback.
That's good. No Zeds then. No one's put Zeds.
No Zeds.
That's normally happens in my world.
Really appreciate you coming on. Yeah, really love to do this again if you're down to do another one.
Definitely. Whenever you want, just let me know and we get it booked in.
Wicked. Thank you so much for joining me.
Thank you for joining us, guys, and thank you for having me on.
No worries. Have a good night.
Appreciate it. Take care.
See you in a bit.
Take care. See ya.
Right, guys. How good was that? That was awesome, wasn't it? Let me see. That was brilliant. I was very conscious of his time. He's had a long day at work, and I didn't want to keep him for any longer than necessary. But I can't recommend Neil enough. So if anyone is looking to get started with an accountant, they don't know where to go. You send me a message, I'll be happy to pass on his details for you. No worries, guys. So charge the customers 50 quid bank and rest cash on all jobs. Is that what you got from that conversation? Well to that, Jake. No worries, Simon. I'm glad everyone enjoyed it. Oh, Woodside, you missed it. This will be up so on my YouTube channel. You can if you go to my YouTube channel after this stream finishes and you go across to the live section, this is all the live streams that I've ever done on this channel, so you can catch up on any of them. It'll be just here. Yeah, I've missed it, just got here, but at least there's a video to watch after. Yeah, exactly. That was very useful. I think next time I'll try and get Neil to somehow have the chat up on his side as well, so he can just dip in and out and answer questions and stuff. Hello, are you going? Are you swimming or running today? Oh yeah, you doing a run then jumping in the pool afterwards? That'd be good. Have you done that yet? That'd be good, I reckon. That'd be a good feeling.
Bye.
Come say hello to everyone. Neil's gone now.
I presume so when you were talking to me.
I said to Soph,
I wasn't allowed to talk.
You are allowed to talk to me. But it's
I wasn't allowed to talk to him.
that's not what I said. You know when I've got guests and stuff, and there's that slight delay on Discord as well, and I'm trying to have a conversation with someone with my headphones on, and then Soph comes in talking to me about Coda. She can't hear the conversation I'm having, and I have to stop and turn and have a conversation with Soph and cut this person off that's trying to talk to me. I feel so rude doing it, but also I said it nicely. I said it nicely, didn't I? How do you say stop doing that without being mean?
You don't.
I
You
didn't-
let me do it. You let me carry on.
I didn't tell you to stop doing that. I just explained the situation, didn't I? Tracy says hi.
Hi. Hi, everybody.
Return of Almo says hi. Jake's in trouble. No, I'm not.
Right, I'm going.
I'm the boss in this house, didn't I?
No.
I just booked a trip for us to Amsterdam for Valentine's Day, didn't I?
Mm. We're buzzing it with.
I treat you well, didn't I?
Oh, you want to smack. You do treat me well, but you can't just say that after you've booked a holiday, like.
Do you know what? McFlurry Mondays are they're no longer a thing because Soph has decided that she's on a diet.
Don't get him a McFlurry tonight. He doesn't deserve one.
But now I have to suffer because Soph wants to lose a bit of weight.
Okay, bye.
I don't even know why. We're not going on any bikini holidays this year.
I am.
Oh yeah.
Going with you now, then.
Oh, you are, yeah. Also, you're doing the wolf run.
Yeah. See you in a bit.
Love you.
Love you.
See ya. Oi, Jake, I heard you bring the missus on a lads' night out. I mean the cleaning expo work thingy. I'd like Soap to come. She's a right laugh. She gets on better with lads than girls, I reckon. Get him a McFlurry. Leon has just become a circle member. Welcome. Welcome, buddy. Leon now gets access. One of us. Leon now gets access to the private Discord where we all help each other out. Questions, guides. We go through quotes with each other. Lots of members in the chat right now. Welcome, Leon. Thank you very much. If anyone else wants to join, you can just look below this video and there should be a button saying join. I think iPhones don't see that join button. You have to like go into the description of my video, click the link and then open the link with Safari to be able to join. I don't know what, it must be like a Google iPhone thing. I think YouTube's owned by Google, so they've got some sort of weird competition going on. What's the private Discord? It's this. So, all of my members of the channel, all the paid members that are circle members and above, they get access to this Discord. And yeah, we just basically help each other out. We post all our pictures, the stuff we're working on for the day. So I've been doing a roof clean today, a roof scrape, which I was going to make a video on. But I've been doing no filming because it's been so arduous. I'm in this Discord every single day. You can get in touch with me pretty much day and night. And there's lots of other very knowledgeable people in here as well. A couple of professionals. We've got Darren from PWS. We've got Julia from Gutter Vacuum Systems, although I don't think she's very active at the moment. Squeaky Clean Dave pops in every now and again. Hello YouTube, says Craig. The guides, sodium hypochlorite guides, nozzle charts, lance balance, a couple of surface guides on there. We've got a marketing section. People sharing their marketing strategies. And then we've also got the boosted members section as well, where people get a link to all of the free images. They're not free images because you pay for them, but all of the images, all of the image packs that I've put together for people who are just starting their business, they want loads of before and after pictures. You can get them in the Discord. And talk about cups of tea. What are you talking about? What's going on with Spotify? Okay. Spotify is malfunctioning. Oh, we're good. It's fine. Jake, be a man and order yourself a McFlurry and let the missus see the empty carton in the kitchen. How much would it cost me to order a McFlurry? How much extra would it cost me just to order a McFlurry? Well worth the info and the content. Thanks, Leon. Yep, I couldn't find it on my iPhone. It should be in the description of any of my videos. Maybe not the live streams, but any of my videos. You'll see the link in that description, hopefully. Jake, oh, I've read that one. Delivery McFlurry while safe's out. If you get the upgraded package, you get Smout's nude calendar. That is true. Rockwood washers any good? I think someone in my Discord actually bought a Rockwood pressure washer the other day. Looked like a half decent one. It's nice and cheap. Can I ask what's the best XJet to buy and where to get it? And where to get one? I think that's what you said. This music is too loud. I think a lot of suppliers are having issues. They're having issues getting hold of XJets at the moment, so you might struggle to find one in the UK. Rutland Pumps generally are the ones that import them, so if anyone's got them, Rutland Pumps will have them. Although it's not showing up on the website, so maybe not. I know AC pressure washers, I think. There's a few like things like foam cannons as well, which are similar. They're very similar to XJets. And I believe, yeah, easy dilution chart. So this will be very similar to an XJet. And they're new and they're a lot cheaper. I think the XJet's 220 quid in some places. You could also go to Equip to Clean and get their chemical applicator, which is marketed to look like an XJet, I suppose. The pictures look exactly the same. The only thing to consider with this one is that you've got two dilution ratios. So the XJet comes with loads of dilution ratios and a very helpful dilution chart. You put different, they're called proportioners. You put different proportioners in the bottom of the XJet, and that determines how much chemical comes out. With this one, it's got two settings, 9:1. Sorry, 1:9 or 1:6. So for sodium hypochlorite, I'm applying my sodium hypochlorite at the moment at around about 1:3, 1:4, quite strong. So if you're using it at 1:6, that's going to be a little bit weaker than what you'd achieve with the XJet. So that's just one thing to consider. But it's a hell of a lot cheaper than the XJet, so might be worth a try. I'm not promoting Equip to Clean. I'm just saying this product is it's on the market and it's available. If you can't get hold of an XJet and you don't want to pay for this one, you could get that one. I'd say most people won't hang around all day at the cleaning expo, so a night out might be better on the Friday. Is that the Friday before? night out on the Friday night, and then see everyone at the Cleaning Expo on Saturday. Is that what you mean? Jetmax selling them. There you go, X-Jet M5. Is that plus VAT? 190 quid. I wonder. Normally they're about 220 quid. So yeah, if these are in stock, that's also somewhere you can get it from, Jetmac. Jake Vevor, any good? Thinking of getting a surface cleaner from them. Vevor. I need a Wii. Can I just... What is this website? Is this the website you... Oh, wow. Can I just have a Wii? I'll be back shortly. I have the Equip to Clean X-Jet. The mixing part doesn't work and it started going rusty already. Lindsay, do you rinse it out after every use? Because I found that with my actual X-Jet. That my filter's gone rusty, and also the quick release part at the top has gone rusty. And sodium hypochlorite, if you get that on metal fittings, and like if you get it on LED flashing on someone's windowsill or whatever, it will turn metal rusty, and so it'll either oxidize it or make it rusty. So I hadn't considered this, but I think it's very important to wash it out after every use, just with clean water. So that might have prevented it. Not something I thought of before. This is just something I've sort of... These are very cheap surface cleaners. That is insanely cheap. They look very generic. Delivery would be the 24th of Feb. What's wrong with these? Why are they so cheap? So they're doing it in... they're advertising it in gallons per minute, which is generally like aimed at the American market. We work in litres per minute over here. £5 off. I don't know. I've never come across this website before. It's got reviews. How real these reviews are, I don't know. That must be a real review. These are both the same review. That one's also the same review. That one's also the same review from Paul. That's a very cheap surface cleaner. It actually tells you the orifice size for the nozzles as well, which is useful. 1.75 orifice nozzles. The only thing I would say, if I could do it again, I wouldn't buy a surface cleaner with 3 arms, 3 jets, instead of like the standard 2 that like whirlaways and stuff come with. For block paving, I mean, I haven't tested. I bought a new one recently, and I haven't tested it on block paving, but I'm thinking that's why it's not very effective on block paving, because it's spreading the pressure out too thin over 3 nozzles rather than just 2. So I've got the triple one that I'm just going to be using on patios and tarmac and that sort of stuff. So the spread will be a bit softer. I've got like 40-degree nozzles in it, so that's good for like all delicate surfaces. And then the twin bar one, the one with just 2 jets in it, I'm going to have 15-degree nozzles in it, which have just arrived from Rutland Pumps. And hopefully they'll be decent for block paving. You can also raise and lower the wheels as well to get closer to the surface, which is useful. No, never heard of this website. It looks legit. These do just look like generic photos, like you'd expect to see on like Alibaba or AliExpress. Is that the same website? It used to be called Alibaba. Like eBay, Amazon. It looks like a similar sort of website. So you won't know until you try, I guess. Might be worth ordering something from them. Plenty to choose from on there. Look at these. I wonder if they've got like a roof cleaning one. 15-inch one there. I wonder if that bottom one comes in a different size. 24-inch, 18-inch. Stainless steel or plastic. With wheels, no wheels. You can't actually click these buttons, so... Can I use sodium hypochlorite on porcelain? I'm pretty confident you can, although it can discolour white porcelain. So you might want to go quite a weak ratio. This is based on my own research, not gospel. I put my X-Jet in a bucket of water after every use. So I get my trigger, take the X-Jet out. So when you press it, it's just like low pressure water coming out the end, and then I fire it down into the X-Jet tube, so it all flushes it out. Is the steel quick release that's going rusty? It's the steel quick release that's going rusty. Yeah, that's the same as what happened to mine. 2 different websites, Jake. What do you mean? Is this not the website you were talking about? You could change your arms from 3 to 2 to save money. Yep. Yeah, you can just buy the arms separately. Swap them over. I saw a good video on Facebook the other day of Specky. Can't remember. Joseph Specky, I think. He runs one of the Facebook groups. I think it's Joseph. He said rather than changing the jets out, if you need to change it over for a specific job, rather than changing the individual jets, which can take up to like 5-10 minutes, just take the bar off and swap it with a different bar that's already got the jets on. Much quicker. Hi Darren, welcome. Doing good, thanks mate. Everyone hide, Darren's here. Oh, Alibaba and AliExpress are 2 different websites. Okay. So I'm going to see Darren at PWS on the 1st of March, Friday the 1st of March. And we're going to be doing something quite special. And we're going to be making a day of it. and I'm going to be recording the whole thing. So some pretty decent. I've also got to do a video of the new van as well. So there should be some pretty decent videos coming up soon. I'm just in the middle of doing some quite big jobs. For OnlyFans. It's not a video for OnlyFans. The needle valve's working a treat now. Craig's guessed it, Darren. Did you mention it to him? So the nude calendar for boosted members, the Smelties nude calendar, it's now going to be featuring guests, just like the podcast. And Darren's agreed to join and do some of his lunges. I don't know if I can convince Dave. Someone in the Discord was showing off one of their recent purchases, which I think I could benefit from. So it's one of these, look. It's called a J-Rod. So you can spec these with like whatever nozzles that you want. And then say you're sort of walking back to the van or keeping nozzles hanging around in your pocket. They're all on the same thing. So you just click them in and out the lance, depending on what you need, which I thought was a good idea. What else was I thinking about earlier as well? I can't remember now. It's actually on my Facebook. When are you next in the office, Darren? PB, Pro Clean. Welcome to the club. Thank you so much. Very kind of you, mate. I appreciate it. Looking forward to seeing the van with everything organised on the walls. Yep. For those of you who haven't already mentioned it to, I guess, I've done a custom Pro Grip order in my colours as well, in orange. I've got some very juicy bits in the works at the moment. And I've asked if he can get these to me before the 2nd of March so that everything's all ready to go after that weekend. The thing I've got to figure out now is my ladders. The company, I found a company that does everything when it comes to like ladder, like roof racks and racking, and like a ladder that goes up the back door. Demo. It's called Demar. And it's near me. It's like 40 minutes away. So I was hoping I could just go and they do this plywood racking. I was hoping I could just go and get stuff fitted, but they don't offer a fitting service, unfortunately. So this sort of stuff for my Mercedes Sprinter. Look at this. It's perfect. It's exactly what I was looking for. This cow song's back on. I can't skip it. Okay, no music for a bit, sorry. And then they also do the roof racks for the Sprinter. They do the doubles and the triples, depending on which wheelbase you've got. I could go for the steel racking, but I think that's a bit bougie for me. I don't need anything like that. So they do the roof bars, and then they also do the ladder that goes up the back. And so, there we go. And so this company do like the 3 items that I was specifically looking for, and they're only 40 minutes away from me in Malvern. I thought, oh great, I'll make a day of it. I'll drive over there, get everything fitted on the day, and I'll be set, ready to go. But they don't offer fitting, which is very frustrating because I'm not very good at doing all this sort of stuff myself. But they look like looks like decent stuff. Cheaper than most other places as well. It looks expensive, 160 quid for a little ladder. But that's so much cheaper than many others. Hello Jake, is it worth to start pressure washing business just using my small SUV, or should I wait until I get a van? If you can fit your stuff in an SUV, I started my business with a little £300 pressure washer out of the back of my girlfriend's Toyota RAV4. I had a little pressure washer, a little 25-meter hose reel, a broom, and some woven polypropylene rubble sacks. And that's all I had. That's how I was running my business for like 6 months. Have you sold your old van, Jake? No. I've got a couple of people interested. My friend Rich, I was talking to him the other day, and he's sort of in between. They've got a business. Him and his partner are running this business together, and it's doing very well. But he's sort of looking to the next thing now, and I think he's very driven, and he just wants his own thing. And I just mentioned, like, have you considered exterior cleaning, pressure washing, that sort of stuff? And I've got an old machine that's been covered in the back garden. I started it up the other day, actually, and just to give it a little test, little run. I said, look, I've got a van, I've got an old machine, I could run through everything with you. He's in Walsall, so he's about 45 minutes away from me. I said, you come out and do a day's work with me, see if you enjoy it. So he's asked me for a price for everything, so that'd be fun if he decides to get into it. He can do it on the side of his regular job, of his current work. Pro Grip, get Ed Pro Grip to try and do lance holder for surface cleaner. I actually sent him an email, quite a lengthy email of everything I wanted, and we discussed a surface cleaner, how you would mount that to the side of a van. So that is, they're very heavy, and they're quite an awkward shape. And so to do it properly without risking breaking things or putting too much weight on certain areas would be quite difficult. And they probably wouldn't be very popular because you need like I suppose you could do it sideways. I was going to say you need like a tall van to be able to mount it properly, but you could mount it sideways as well. He does mounts. Pro Grip do mounts for roof surface cleaners that you could just pop on. Just the end. Right, I need to bounce. Craig, thanks for watching, mate. Oh, you've asked him. Oh, nice. The ply will be fine as long as you don't fill the van with water. Yeah, that's one of my issues. I tend to... leaks are an issue at the moment. There's only been a few occasions where I've like got a lot of water in the van, and it's usually when I unplug my hose reel, wind everything up, and then I put the hose reel in the van, and it flops down and starts pouring water out, because those hoses hold a hell of a lot of like residual water, and so that's a thing. But yeah, also I had a massive flood in my van a couple of weeks ago. It's all on video if you want to watch that. It is the garden centre video, this one. I really can't wait to become self-employed. That would truly make me really happy. That's really that's the attitude, isn't it? It's not necessarily it's going to make me loads of money, although there's a chance you'll be a hell of a lot better off than you are now. But that will truly make me happy. It's an amalgamation of different things. It's that work-life balance that you can now dictate, because you choose when you work, you choose what type of work you do, you choose how far away you want to travel. There's that higher ceiling of earning potential that you don't get with a regular 9-to-5 job where you're working for a company or working for someone else. They dictate your salary, and there's only so far you can climb up that ladder. But when you're working for yourself, you've got none of those limitations. You don't have to ask anyone for permission. You just do it. And it has been the dream for me. It really has, regardless of how well I'm doing month to month, regardless of whether it might be a bit quiet, I might be struggling this month, but next month business is booming and I'm earning loads of money. Regardless of that, the fact that I can dictate my future, and it really does depend on how much work you want to put in. The more work you put in, the better the results. The more work you put into advertising. How much time do you want to spend on advertising, marketing, building a website, posting to social media, making videos? You dictate them. What you put in, you'll get back. It's as simple as that. Work hard and you'll see the returns. And so you could be in a company where you work hard and nothing changes, and you can be underappreciated, undervalued, underpaid, regardless of how hard you work. And that's when I realized that, I was like, yeah, this ain't for me anymore. I've got to do something to get out of this. Has Darren sent you a special green t-shirt yet? I've got a green hat and a green t-shirt, yeah. Get some marine ply. Is that a thing? What's that? Marine plywood. I remember the what's marine plywood? The plywood is not waterproof. However, it's an excellent hardwood plywood engineered with waterproof glue. So I guess it just doesn't split. Do you remember they build skate parks out of something called, is it skate light? And it's super expensive, and it looks like plywood or hardwood, but I think it's like not plastic, but I think it's paper composite material used as a riding surface. So they build skate parks with this skate light stuff, and in comparison to like plywood skate parks, they last so much longer, and they're really smooth and nice to ride as well. It almost looks like that sort of like vinyl flooring from a distance. The money does come later, you're right, yeah. You work hard and then the results. You don't want to get into being self-employed because you think you're going to earn loads of money with this crazy business idea. You want to try and get into it for the right reasons. To crunch the numbers first as well before you make any crazy decisions. Sprinters rust really well, suggesting putting a waterproof system on the floor. Yeah, that's a good suggestion. Like that. What's that? Rattlesnake or something, or snake skin? Rattle something grip. It's like a black spray, Some people use it for like bed lining for their trucks and stuff. I can't remember what it's called, but it's that might be a good idea. I think you ought to do green army boxers. That's a good idea. Did I see something the other day? He's actually doing pants. Darren, are you doing green army Valentine's Day pantaloons? And the picture you put up was very suggestive. Look at these. They're real, aren't they? Are you actually selling these? He's put hashtag schlong. Terrible. Self-employment is great. I'm probably unemployable now because I would hate to be told what I can and can't do. Yeah, there is that as well. There's having someone above you that you potentially don't even respect, let alone it's people that think they know they're right all the time as well. They've got all these grand ideas and you've just got to follow their instructions because they're above you in the hierarchy. It's just like, yeah. I just ordered the Alpha Tip shirt. Can't stand working for someone else. I've done it for so many years, never truly been happy. And they don't tell you that self-employment is an option when you leave school. It was never brought up that I could own my own business. It's always like university, college. Does anyone have any issues with the hypo from Equip to Clean not foaming using the injector cleaner? I bought one tub of that super foam and I did like a direct comparison. I didn't film it or anything, but I did a direct comparison between the Nuclear Pro that I had in the van and the super foam on one patio, and same dilution ratios, and the Nuclear Pro worked way better. Could you paint the ply in a waterproof coating? I suppose you could, unless plywood needs to be breathable. I'm not sure. Stock board is good. It's recycled plastic they use in agriculture. Stock board.
The Stockboard range covers Centriforce's recycled plastic protective boards, designed for roads, ground, underground, and indoor use.
Ooh.
Each product is designed with the end use in mind, with unique characteristics to make it fit for purpose. Stockboard means quality for our customers. They know they're getting well-made, durable products that will protect their surroundings from damage, whatever the job.
That's like nothing I've really seen before.
At all stages of manufacturing, from using the best recycled plastic materials to shipping and handling.
That's a good idea.
We test Stockboard to both UK and international standards to ensure their longevity against impact. The Stockboard range is designed with versatility in mind to ensure our customers have the perfect materials for their projects. Our Stockboard products are available in a range of standard or bespoke sizes, thicknesses.
So you know when people are putting like skips on driveways and stuff, this would probably be like lighter and more impact resistant than plywood.
And colors, so you can customize damage prevention to your individual requirements.
I suppose you can get them in different thicknesses, like stiffnesses and flexibility and stuff. That's cool. Not seen that product before. Raptor paint, that's it. I knew it was something to do with like, yeah, velociraptor or snake or what did I say? Crocodile, some sort of yeah. You know what I was talking about. You've put it in the ambulance, of course you have. Did you find it easy to work with, Dave? I can imagine it could kind of get away from you. It could be a bit unruly. I used to work in a body shop doing painting cars and stuff, so I think I could get the hang of it pretty quickly, but you can use it on alloy wheels. What even is it? Is it like plasticky? A lot of people, 2K aerosol. A lot of people use them to, yeah, look, you can paint your car with it. And it gives this like orange peely effect. I want to see gallery. So, like I said before, if anyone wants to get in touch with Neil, feel free to send me a DM. I'll put his details in the Discord as well. So any members of the Discord, you'll see his details in there. But otherwise, just DM me on like Instagram, WhatsApp, Facebook Messenger, whatever, and I'll pass them over to you. I just want to see the pictures, please. Why can't I expand? Look at that. It's a very cool effect, isn't it? I like those wheels. That's the sort of thing I want on my van. Show her your alpha. Is that the t-shirt you've got? That's a cool idea for a t-shirt. Don't put your fingers anywhere you wouldn't put your... Is the t-shirt on here as well then? I don't know. See you, Dave. Thanks for watching, mate. I've been thinking about working for myself, and it's become my new obsession. I will and I have to do this regardless of how long it's going to take me to get there soon. Get there sooner the better. Rafsky, what's holding you back at the moment from doing it right now? What is stopping you from? Why is this something you're going to do in the future? Why not now? Raptor for the floor to stop the water damage. Yeah, it's a good idea. Buffalo board. Oh, so that looks like sheets of ply. Oh, sheets of birch wood with a slip-resistant mesh pattern. Yeah, that looks good. I wonder how something like that would resist water damage. That's the only thing. It still looks like just sort of soft wood. It's overlaid with a dark brown phenolic film with a slip-resistant wire mesh pattern. We recommend that you reseal the cut edges. I've just got some buffalo board for my van. I think I'm going to leave it there, guys. Thank you so much for watching. If anyone wants to get me on Instagram, Smelts Pressure Washing, Facebook, Smelts Pressure Washing. I'm going to play an advert before everyone disappears. And thank you so much for watching. Have a wonderful evening. I'll see you in a bit. Now, these videos take a lot of time and effort to film and edit on top of trying to run a successful pressure washing business. If you find any of the information in my videos useful, then I'd like for you to consider becoming a paid member of the channel. Circle members and above will get access to my private Discord for members only, where you can pretty much get a hold of me 24 hours a day for inspiration, technical help, marketing advice, or just a general chat. I post pictures and videos that you won't see on any of my other socials. You'll be the first to hear about giveaways, special offers and announcements, and it's just generally a nice place full of like-minded people who are all heading towards similar goals. We've got various different experience levels, we've got a few professionals in the chat as well. If you want to push your business, in my opinion, this is the place to be. We also have two other membership tiers. One is just to show a bit of support for the channel, and the other one is for boosted members, which will not only give you access to the private Discord, but also loads of high quality promotional images for you to start your business. I know what it's like when you're ready to get going, but you don't have any before and after pictures to put on your leaflets. At the moment, there's about 150 images that you can use for pretty much whatever you like, and my intention is to constantly update these over the next few years with all of my before and afters that have helped promote my business. Last thing before I let you go, new videos come out every Monday night at 5:30, and then I go live at 7:30 to chat to you guys and answer as many questions as possible. We do live quotes for real customers and just generally keep up to date with everything going on in the pressure washing world. Thanks for watching, back to the video.